The Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, has been publicly criticised by several senior colleagues after telling BBC News that he would never order the use of nuclear weapons if he was Prime Minister. The Shadow Defence Secretary, Maria Eagle, said his remarks were unhelpful, while HILARY BENN, the Shadow Foreign Secretary, said Mr Corbyn should abide by Labour's official policy. Later in the day, Mr Corbyn spoke to our political editor, Laura Kuenssberg.
Jeremy Corbyn wants debate. Well, he's got one and has run straight into a clash, saying what no Labour leader has said in recent history. If he was Prime Minister, whatever the threat, he'd never use nuclear weapons.
Would you ever push the nuclear button if you were Prime Minister?
I'm opposed to nuclear weapons. I'm opposed to the holding and the usage of nuclear weapons. They're an ultimate weapon of mass destruction that can only kill millions of civilians if ever used. And I am totally and morally opposed to nuclear weapons. I do not see them as a defence. I do not see the use of them as a credible way to do things.
Yes or no, you would never push the nuclear button?
I've answered you perfectly clearly. It's immoral to have or use nuclear weapons. I've made that clear all of my life.
But Jeremy Corbyn, do you acknowledge there is a risk that it looks to voters like you would put your own principles ahead of the protection of this country?
It looks to the voters, I hope, that I'm somebody that's absolutely and totally committed to spreading international law, spreading international human rights, bringing a nuclear-free world nearer and an option nearer.
And that's more important than the protection of this country. Some voters might think that.
We are not under any threat from any nuclear power. We are not under threat from that. We're under threat from instability. Yes, there is a terrorist issue around the world. Listen, the nuclear weapons that the United States holds, all the hundreds, if not thousands of warheads they've got, were no help to them on 9/11.
Getting rid of nuclear weapons has always been his ambition. But now he wants to be the Prime Minister. And the Labour Party this week decided to stick to its policy of keeping nuclear weapons, Trident submarines, despite him. This morning, many of his top team, though, seemed aghast that he totally ruled out their use, even as a last resort.
Do you think Prime Ministers should always have the option of using nuclear weapons as a last resort?
I think so. I do, because if a deterrent is to mean what it says, then that is an option that Prime Ministers have to keep.
I don't think that answering a potential Prime Minister, answering a question like that, is in the way in which he did, is helpful.
I think a British Prime Minister has to have that option, and the whole purpose of the deterrent, of course, is it's trying to deter a potential enemy.
I don't think anyone in their right minds would want to get to a situation where it would be used, but I think if you do get to that situation, you have to be prepared to use it.
If you've got a nuclear deterrent, you've got to be willing to use it in extreme circumstances, or it isn't a deterrent.
You should never say never in politics, because what you need to do is look at the circumstances that arise, the evidence before you.
But it matters so much now, because next year MPs will have to vote on whether the UK should build more Trident nuclear submarines and remain a nuclear nation. He's attracted these crowds precisely because he's always stuck to his principles. But how does he keep Labour together when there's so much conflict? It's never been done before, but he says he will find a way.
We're having a discussion and debate in this party, and we'll find a way forward from that, OK?
But isn't part of being a leader having hypothetical questions that you've got to find?
You don't understand the new politics. You don't understand the need for serious discussion and serious debate and grown-up politics. I'm not a dictator. I've been elected as a leader. I'm doing my best to lead this party.
This is Jeremy Corbyn's first big clash with his top team. He's welcomed disagreements, but they're coming thick and fast. And most voters hear broad messages from parties, noise rather than nuance. And there's a sense, even in these early days, that Labour could lose control.
The people's flag. It's hard to stick to his old favourites in Labour's brave new world. Thrilling for many, but it's dangerous too. Mr Corbyn may strain to stop disagreements turning into public, destructive disputes. Laura Kuenssberg, BBC News, Brighton.